It's been a good reading year, but let me tell you what, it's time for it to come to an end. Hey everyone, welcome back to Andrew's Wizardly Reads, and today guys, we are diving into what's going to be read here on the channel in December of 2025. But before we get into that, please do me a favor, like this video and subscribe to the channel, as it does help the channel grow. And you can check out the description box down below for links to all of my social media, including my book club / Patreon, which you can join for as little as $1 a month, and the Wizards Enclave Discord if you want to join a great bookish community. With that out of the way, guys, I think going forward, there was a question of the day on the Discord, and it was a couple weeks ago. And I was like, hey, MBR and TBR don't really fit what I do. What's another name we could call reading plans? And somebody came up with Pile of Possibilities. And it seems to be catching on. I know Nico's already started using it for some of his patron stuff. And I was like, why can't I just use that for like a TBR? And then I might even like try and do what he's doing and incorporate some patron aspects into the Pile of Possibilities. Maybe have some patrons pick mood reads and stuff like that just randomly throughout the month. So I'm contemplating doing that as well. But let me know in the comments if you like the term Pile of Possibilities. With all of that out of the way, guys, it's time to talk about some books. And essentially, the main plan here is to finish up some book series, because almost all year I finished no series right up until I think November. And now I'm just trying to like load them all at the back of the year. And December seems to be the month that I've chosen to finish as many series as I possibly can. That includes right here, Dragon Spirits by L.L. MacRae. Now, eagle-eyed viewers will be like, but wait, you were reading that in November. I was reading this in November, and I was having a really good time. I got 30% into it, and just something else came in. It was a recommendation. I was like, I'll read a couple pages of that, and then a couple pages turned into a chapter, and a chapter turned into 2 chapters, and then it turned into, I read the whole book, and that was Will Thomas's Barker and Llewellyn series, Some Danger Involved, I believe is the first book. And it was just kind of like a Holmes and Watson style thing. Anyway, it kind of sucked up my physical reading time because I've been reading this physically. And I was like, you know what? Like, I can still read this year and finish it in December. Plus, it just gives me more excuses to talk about the Dragon Spirits because I love this series and the author is amazing. Essentially, like, wherever there is an abundance of life, a dragon spirit can form within this world, and then basically they're also currently being invaded by like spirits of undeath, and so they're trying to like fight back against these, and you've got this cast of characters. They're incredibly flawed, they're human, they make mistakes, and it's just been a really good journey. So yes, The Broken Sword will be continued in December after having read 30 to 40% in November, because basically right now I'm at 30%. And I think I might be able to squeeze in like another 10% before the month rolls over. But yeah, no, this got kind of shoved to the side for a little bit of mood reading, but I am going to be finishing it this year. It has been fantastic. So next up, we've got Eli Monpress. And I started this one about a year ago. And I've just been like on the verge of completing the series all year long. And it just feels like it's about time. The first book starts off very silly, where basically Eli's whole thing is he just wants to be famous and have a large bounty. The largest bounty of anybody else. That's his whole goal. And like the series starts out with like chapter 1, he kidnaps a king and holds him for ransom just to sell him back to his kingdom so that they'll put a larger bounty on his head. Like that's his whole shtick. And then like as this series has progressed, you find out that like there's deeper stakes and there's deeper things going on, and it's just been a really good ride. And frankly, I've got more Rachel Aaron on my shelves. And this is going to kind of be the decider of if I continue to read Rachel Aaron. And the reason I say that is I tried some of her other work, like The Last Stand of Mary Goodcrow. And I thought that was going to be a slam dunk for me because I love fantasy westerns. That one just really, it wasn't able to pull me in. And so I kind of walked away from that series and unhauled it. And I have liked Eli Monpress, but there's also like Heartstrikers that I need to get to, and I have a couple other books. But if this doesn't stick the landing, I'm probably not going to read those other stories. But if this does stick the landing, then I can just dive on headfirst into a whole bunch more of Rachel Aaron, because mostly I would say I've enjoyed Eli Monpress. So, Spirit's End. And then we got Anthony Ryan. You knew I had to finish at least one Anthony Ryan series this year. This is The Seven Swords. This is a book of 7 novellas stitched together to basically tell a journey. We've got demon-infused swords, and these swords kind of pick a wielder. They fuse to the wielder. They give the wielder like powers and strength, but they're cursed to like interact with a demon within the blade for as long as they're alive. And basically there's this bigger demon that's trying to make an incursion, and their whole job is to kind of put a stop to it. We've got tons of backstory, tons of like interesting characters. Overall, this has been a fascinating, if dark, story, and I'm here for the final entry, which is the Infernus Gate. Look at this cover art. It's absolutely stunning. So yes, Anthony Ryan has had a winner with that series. Every cover has been amazing. Storm Rider, Rigante number 4. This is the final Rigante book. Finally, after 2 years of bellyaching, I'll be wrapping up this series. And let me tell you what, I've already met Storm Rider. He was introduced in the 3rd book, Ravenheart, which I loved. If this book is even half as good as Ravenheart was, it's going to be a 5-star read. Ravenheart was amazing. Like, I can tell you this. Faithful and the Fallen definitely pulled heavily from Rigante. It was heavily inspired by David Gemmell's Rigante. And, I mean, just Jane Grimmick in Ravenheart was, Kaelin Ring and everything that he goes through. I love that series so incredibly much. So I'm really excited for Storm Rider here, because the series just needs to end with a bang. Because if it doesn't, it'll be just so upsetting. Like, it's been a really good series. This is seriously underrated fantasy. Not enough people talk about Rigante. Everybody talks about Draenei that David Gemmell did, or the Troy trilogy, but Rigante, 4 books long, and at least 3 of those books are amazing. The first book, Sword in the Storm, was really, really good, but from Midnight Falcon to Ravenheart, fantastic, and then I'm hoping Storm Rider also joins as being just one of those phenomenal books. So yep, we got that one. And then, of course, we've got this one, Empire of the Dawn by Jay Kristoff. And I have to finish this one this year. I could have gone with, like, Strength of the Few or the last Sun Eater book, which its name is escaping me now that I'm on camera. Happens all the time. You hop in front of the camera and all of a sudden your brain goes, I don't know the name of anything. But, yeah, this book and this series is not something I thought I was ever going to enjoy, and then I was just proven incredibly wrong, and I liked book 1. Actually, I loved book 1, and then I liked book 2 even more, so I'm hoping Empire of the Dawn just seals the deal, and this becomes an all-time favorite series for me. It's got vampires, it's got like an Anthony Ryan blood song feeling, and just overall, I just really enjoy this series, and these Waterstones editions are gorgeous. They're just so incredibly cool. They're illustrated. This one's signed by the author. And yeah, I'm very happy that I'm going to be wrapping up Empire the Vampire. And I do that one as an immersion read, which, again, I highly recommend doing immersion reads if you haven't done them before. Immersion reads being like you listen to the audiobook while you physically read the book, and you just kind of get like a little extra depth to the story because you're having somebody kind of bring the characters to life instead of your memory having to do it for you, which, granted, like, my memory can do it for me, but man, I just love immersion reading so much. And then I got a stack of books here. These are the books that are not for finishing series, but most of them are continuing series and stuff like that. So I've got 3 continuing series, and that would be right here, Rise of the Automated Empire with Precipice by Dennis M. Myers, and I'm going to be kind of like reading this in tandem with John from Talking Story. We did a discussion with Dennis M. Myers over the first book, and I think that was Rise of the Automated Empire, Final Assembly. There we go, that's what it was, Final Assembly. And this is supposed to be like a little bit more of an action-packed entry into the series. I liked book 1, I thought it had a bunch of really intriguing sci-fi ideas, but I'll tell you what, like, the amount of like action that I wanted the series to have, just it needed just a little bit more. So I'm hoping to get that in Precipice. But this is book number 2. Then we've got Bloodless by Douglas Preston and Lincoln Child. This is Pendergast number, I believe this is 19 or 20. 19, there's 21. So I think this might be 19. This might be 19, and my 4th book since coming back to the series. I was very, very behind. But essentially, I think this is returning a little bit to the roots of the series, where we throw in a little bit of the weird. Basically, early on in the series, you had monsters, and you had some sci-fi elements, and you had some interesting things going on within the series for a long chunk of time, at least since Two Graves. Because Two Graves, we had a little bit more weird with like ESP kind of vibes going on. It's just been about Pendergast hunting killers and criminals. And I think this returns to a little bit more of that kind of weird sort of vibe, a little bit more sci-fi, supernatural thriller type of deal. So I'm very excited for that. And then, of course, hopefully I have time for it. It says special edition. I don't know why this says special edition. It is just a mass market paperback, but this is all the rage. Number 4 in Repairman Jack. And let me tell you what, I loved books 1 and 3 of Repairman Jack. Book 2 I liked. I didn't love it. But if this one is anything as good as the first or the third one, I'm here for it. And then basically the plan going forward for F. Paul Wilson, at least for right now, is I'll read the 5th Repairman Jack book, and then I'll return to the Adversary Cycle to read, I believe, the 4th book there, read another 5 Repairman Jacks, read the 5th Adversary Cycle, then basically just finish out Repairman Jack, because the last Repairman Jack is also the last Adversary Cycle book. And I think that's my reading plan for those books right now. But yep, we've got Repairman Jack number 4 on deck. And then we've also got these 2 books here. We've got the Patron Book Club book, which is Song of the Beast by Carol Berg. This has been read by my good friend Tori from Tori Talks, and I believe Nico from Nico's Book Reviews. Both of them really enjoyed it. This is a fantasy standalone, and it is going to be my first Carol Berg. I'm very, very excited to check this out and read this story, so we shall see what it has in store for me. And then finally, I've been buying up a bunch of Clive Cussler. This is The Chase. This is the first Isaac Bell adventure and the last solo novel Cussler wrote in his life, which is all the way back in 2007. From 2007 to when he passed in 2020, he co-authored every single one of his books. So this is his last solo authored work. And I'm about 40% into this as of I think a year and a half, 2 years ago. I tried reading this one and I was just like, I'm not really feeling it anymore. But recently I've been called back to the historical thriller. And so I was like, Cussler has to fit into there. And essentially the plan going forward is this. I've got the Oregon Files, the Isaac Bell Adventures right here, Kurt Austin, and a few select Dirk Pitt books. And I plan to rotate through those 4 sub-series until I've read basically all of the Clive Cussler that I currently have. Now, I haven't read any of the Isaac Bells other than what I tried 2 years ago. And I think I've only read the first of the Oregon Files. So those may start out as my main focuses, but then I will, of course, return to Dirk Pitt as well as the Kurt Austin books. But those are the pile of possibilities. That is what I am planning, and keyword planning, to read in December. We'll see what happens. But please let me know in the comments down below what your reading plans to close out the end of the year are. Are you trying to fit in a bunch of series finales into December like me, or do you just like the term pile of possibilities? Let me know in the comment section down below. But that's all I've really got for today, guys. I hope you're doing well. Till next time, peace out. Stay magical. Bye. And as always, I want to give a huge thank you to my patrons. Thank you for supporting my passion and my hobby. It means the world to me.